cha cha cha.
My name is Jessica Holyfield. I'm a professional dancer, professional dance choreographer, and dance educator based out of the southeast of the United States. And we're going to be taking a look at 17's clap. Now, I have been going through and marathoning all of 17's dance practices or dance concepts, and I've been very much enjoying the process. So thank you for Patreon for voting for this to happen. This has been wonderful so far, and this one will probably be no different. So let's go ahead and check it out.
준비하고 있어. 우리 지금 끝나. 오케이, 간다. 자, 1억 1조 2조. 준영 뭐해? 2조. 네, 커튼 치겠습니다. 오늘 거기 잘 마셔야 돼. 쌀포대는 거기. 쌀포대 되게. 이래라 저래라 하지 마. 이렇게 한대요? 네, 좀 바꿔야 될 것 같은데? 120mm 바꾸자. 아, 네, 알겠습니다. 아직도 못하는 사람. 뭐라고요? 좋은데요? 멋있네. 세븐틴에도 나오는 거잖아. 자, 갈게요.
우와, 좋아, 좋아.
조리개 체크 좀 해주세요. 박수 프레이틱스로 갈게요. 데이트 언제 할래요? 11월 6일로 할게요. 데이트 날이라 그런지로 갈게요. 데이트 날이라. 사운드는 빵빵으로 할까? 빵빵.
빵빵.
자, 카메라 롤.
오케이. 카메라 롤. 사운드 빵빵.
예. 컷. 엑셀런트라니. 네, 알겠습니다. 자, 다시. 야. 컷.
이제 찍자. 그러면 여기 누가 없어?
거기 번호이 없네.
번호이 없네.
번호이 없어? 또 어디 갔어요?
This feels so self-regulated. This is such a vibe for me.
너나.
형.
뭐하냐? 서라고.
It's funny. Funny. Love that. This one has a lot of fundamentals in it, some locking, popping, old school hip hop in it. Love that. It's gimmicky, it's fun. It builds well, it has breather moments in it. Tension, pulling attention, great job of the features being featured. That was cute. Cha 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 cha. Ooh. That was cool. I love that. Love that. of a Steve Martin inspiration right there. That was really fun. You're like, cut! That was really fun. Okay, so from the top of this, I've heard the song before. It's the first time I've seen the choreography. And I know a lot of you are like, Jess, you've never seen this. Yeah, that's why we're doing the marathon. And so I'm catching up. So now I'm with everybody else and I know all these tracks and I know all their choreo. So having this from the top, I love this beginning. It started very simple, but very effective. You know, just having... Oh, that's right. And then he comes on. That was really fun. Takes the stuff out. Great promotion of merch. I'm assuming that's merchandise for them. For me, if I was a fan of 17, I'd be like, I need that too, because they're wearing it and naturally I have to match them. So I'm just saying, like, that's really great marketing as well. I love it. I love it. It's so simple with 1 and then the 4 and then you have your 4 and then your 4. So what's nice? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. All 13. Brr, 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 brr. Okay, we have all 13. So now it's gonna be. This is exactly what it's supposed to be. And somebody left a comment on one of my videos about this, that the fact that I count to make sure it's all 13, they find to be funny, and that's a very carrot thing to do. I mean, because there's so many of them, and you're right. You don't truly know if you have all 13 till you count it out. So I'm probably gonna do that for every freaking song that I look at. I'm gonna have to count. But just seeing this here is really nice. Having them go from the single and then just fan it out. It's very simple, really nice though. And then everybody, even how they're releasing, they're showcasing the wrist and then clapping with the full sound. So they're not clapping here, but they're clapping here. So it's more full, even though you can't really hear it as much like in music videos and stuff, but here you can hear it. I love that 17 right here with that twist. That was really cool. The tension here, having one person featured in the top, everybody dropping to that more of a sumo squat second position with that tension with the fingers and then dropping it over, everybody looking down except for your feature. Really great choice. Yeah, boom, hitting that percussion, that bass in the back, really nice in opposition with the crossover with the hands, super fun. Then having your next feature up, them all subtly bringing the knee over. So it's nice where it's not just he just dropped. It's they are both up and then he found a way to the floor to where now he's my feature. But of course his hair is very vibrant as well. And so it's important that how you choose to feature out your people. When you have people that have dominant hair colors like that, you have to make sure they're not seen until you want them to be seen. Does that make sense? So I think that was a really great feature choice that they did there with the vibe it down and vibe it very clean, crisp. Then they're switching the arm positions, switching the head focus as well. So it allows you to see the full imagery of it, not just where they're looking, which I really like. That right there was super cool with the kick and looking behind, and then having our next feature. This is where you have your locking influence, where you have a lot of your snaps, right? That is what this gives to me, and a lot of it's like a split variation, but not quite the split. And then they have more of like, it's like bad one light feet, bad one taps is what it feels like here. And then they have gimme 5, so they gave themselves a 5, and they have more of a funky guitar posture. So that's where that locking inspiration stems from. And there's like a nice little, just really nice and subtle, effective. Everybody looking front, but he's the only one that's still front, and everybody transitions out. He moves to the back, still having one person out in the middle, and everybody draping down, with everyone having the same foot in front. It just feels nice, it's structured, it's fully thought out. It's not just the upper body that needs to be clean, but the posture and positioning of your lower body needs to also be clean. I love that. General, you hear that with the guitar. They use the leg to help integrate that sound. That was nice too. As you had your feature, he pulled them up with his hand and used that energy. They responded with that. It's just, they just make great feature choices. I love that. They go da 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 and they pop off. I will say, out of all the high energy pieces, this one I think would be the one that ages the best for them as a group. I think they would do this one. It does have high energy, but it's not, as they get older, they would still be able to do this one without having to have that teenage energy to combat. You know what I'm talking about? Because whenever I saw their debut stuff, I was like, them now to them back then, some of these tracks, they're probably like, never ask us to do this at concert because we'll be too tired. This one I think is a really good one that's kind of in the middle, where it is a bit challenging physically as you get older, but it's still very much doable when you train in your stamina. So it's just one thing I really liked about this one specifically, because it has a lot of high energy pockets like this, but there's not a ton of not a ton of one leg stabilities, or not a ton of high energy jumps and presses and usage of weight shifts. Like the weight shifts aren't aggressive here as they are in some of their other sets, but I really like this choice of building it up here, having a nice little shimmy. I wouldn't even call that a Harlem Shake at all, but it's really fun where they have this little gimmick, cha-cha-cha-cha, clapping, and then they bring it around, build it up to another spot, having a different person be featured, him doing a great job of accenting with what they're doing with their feet. Super fun. And he's still letting his torso be catered to what the rest of the group is doing, because if you look, his torso matches their torso, even though his mannerisms are not the same as theirs. They still collaborate with it, but they're the ones invested in the full angle, and they have to lower their level in order for our feature to be seen in the center. So that was really fun. This right here, that boom, do-do-do, like it feels like they're doing the Steve Martin variation, and I really like that. We have a little old school hip hop in this. Very polyrhythmic, da da da, and a clap, and it's still a party, but very, very clean. I love it. The next person over, so they have a lot of arm positions with the leg tap collaboration. So the tap, 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 I think is a really fun type of wordplay on this. But I really like this choreography a lot on them. Very clean. Su, cha, 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 cha. And just having one of them. And then having the rest of them go. But they do end up doing that near the tail end, and then they use it as a transition for the next spot. Super fun. Now what's nice is they choose to do a circle and branch off, having your new feature in the center and the back. Doing a little bit of just a Fresno pop right here, popping it off right here. My one note is to make sure you integrate, if you're going to do a Fresno, really integrate that swing and the weight shift in that popping pocket. That's my one note there. This was fun, da-da-da, really, really subtle. Love it. Build up, great clump, great way to get everybody back on the same page. I will say just really slight, I say it almost every time. Content looks great. Sometimes, there's always a little part. Sometimes the range of getting from point A to point B for some of them, in this case it would be their arm extensions. Some of them don't fully swing it all the way out. Just making sure that not only A, not only B is represented, but A to B is just as clean. The transition into each move. I love this here. Da-da-da-da-da, then into the toe taps. Really, really fun. Yeah, it's just fun. It goes, ha, and then having your next feature have a little accent moment before starting this part is really nice. Then they're starting it again, but instead of having it travel, they're having it stationary, and they're using their body to help create more dynamics with the choreo. Then they do a little split, creating a wider clump. Really nice. Everybody is seen. Super big accent boom, having your new feature punch to create everybody to have a reaction out of that. Great choice. That was nice too. Snap, snap. They went head, head, boom, went the other way. Love it. It's little things are so effective. Sometimes you don't gotta kill it as a feature. You gotta add to the group. And that's a big thing I've always been saying about 17 from what I've reacted to them. And I think I've reacted to a cool 10 at least at this point. Whoop, whoop. Making my way downtown. But something I've always really appreciated, what I've been noticing from them, an ongoing trend, which is great to have, is their features do not stick out in a way where they're separated from what the group is doing. It is still collaborative. It is a one member with all, not a, okay, here's this one person and here's everybody else. It's everybody is moving and grooving and everybody's contributing. Here's this feature we want you to focus on. Like, it's a collective decision, not just a choreographer's decision. Does that make sense? I don't know if that makes sense, but it really feels communal. It feels way more communal and collaborative between the feature and everybody else whenever they're not featured. I love it. Because they're able to seamlessly integrate themselves back into the choreo and then stand out when necessary, depending on the context of the choreo. Because if they're dropping down with their head down, he doesn't need to do that part unless, or modify it to where he's still contributing but his head is up and projecting out. And that's what he chose to do. And that's what I love about that. That was nice. Da-da-da-da-da. Kick. Boom. Very nice having your feature there. Only one not doing it. He had a more playful transition into it. Everybody else was more still. That helps contribute with that. That was nice. Boom. So having really fast speed change, going from fast to slow, but then writing it out in this really simple groove is really fun, because if you are familiar with dynamics of you want to have a balance and a heartbeat of your vibe and what you give, a heartbeat in your content. And here it's so nice to see where we had this spike in the heart rate and then we chill it out, So it was a nice interruption, and it was a choice that they made, and it helped me be captivated or taken aback by that choice, and it made me want to ride through it in this new innovative layer or texture interpretation of the timbre of this section. It's super nice. And then just having each one having a different person do the claps is really fun. They present over. Now they were all partying, but they get lower and lower, showcasing your feature even more. He pulls him up by his hoodie. Really fun. Instead of just having him come up, he interacts with him. And that's little things like that, very theatrical. Then noticed everybody else were more diagonal. He was straight side. And then when they started doing their Steve Martin variation, I think it was just nice for him. He took a different angle approach. So if you look, he was straight side and everybody else was diagonal. And that's how you were able to see them do their groove more full, but seeing him as your natural feature, because he obviously was at a different angle than everybody else. But he even does the clap. Whenever they clap, it's great. It's really subtle and effective. Then right back into it with everybody else. And then you have your new feature come back through the front. Back Sue. Then they clap together, interact with the previous feature. And they're allowing everybody else. So it feels like this is probably a really fun one to do at a concert, because everybody is probably doing the claps and they're like allowing them the chance to do it. And notice how they space out. A really good opportunity if it's an arena style where they can go around the stage and be able to project out, would be my guess. So I love that little information there. That was really cool with the swipe, having this arm as a fixed point. Brilliant choice there. Builds it up well, back into something subtle. We wouldn't have appreciated this as much if they didn't do something so high energy on a stable foot like what we saw. It was really nice, super spaced out, great usage of their staging. Now we're back to something very subtle with a head over with a boom, boom, really nice accent of the pops there, of the back. And because they did more of a Fresno near that verse 2, it helps us appreciate the pops here. They're integrating multiple styles throughout the entire track, which we all appreciate. Love that. Like that sound looked so nice with that point, and then they brought it up. I think that's a heart they're making. Yeah, they're knocking their heart on the door of love. Oh, that little June, that was fun. Like they're pouring their heart out to you, and then they go and they whip it to the back. Now the only person who responded differently was, of course, your feature. He turned the other way, and everybody is still there, vibing out with a use of a legato groove in the torso while shifting their weight between their left and their right. He's the only one that's kind of chilling there, but how he presents his arms out really do complement the turn back around to the front. With the kicks, we've seen that already, but then they drop all the way down, except for your next feature. He comes around. He had his moment. Ready? So watch this. He has his moment. He uses his leg to kick everybody else around. So it's very complementative, and he's still involved even though he's holding a note. Then they immediately are able to get right back into it, having your new feature coming up the center. Yeah, and then from here, instead of going clap, they're going place, place. So they're creating really drastic contrasts in their formation. it's just clean and they throw it out the park. And it helps you appreciate this moment of them just being able to vibe out for a second, just matching the same groove because of how crisp and clean the other section was. It all goes back to balance. If you want to have these freedom moments like this, where they're not 100% as clean with each other, but it makes sense why they didn't choose to do that, and it's a freedom of choice, because they justified their cleanliness or competency of it in the other section. So it helps us be able to appreciate these rather than criticize them like, oh, it just feels like they just threw this part away. No, it feels like they placed this moment as a part of the spike in the heartbeat of the track. That would be like this is a great example of that, honestly. Then they brought it back in, so instead of everybody doing it the same range, they branched it out, or not all up, they all branched it out, and then they're all doing it now, framing outside. So it's maintaining your levels and dynamics across your staging in depth and width and in height, which I love. They're all vibing out again, which goes back to my previous point that I already stated, so I won't say it again. But you have your new feature over here on this side. So it's just really fun that I say that as often as I do new feature, because they get them in and out so seamlessly. And it's just always something interesting to talk through. And that's just a really big note to state about this as well. Nice little hit them, folks. Back to a little Steve Martin. He's still vibing out over here, living his best life, not quite contributing, which is fine because he's featured. And they're having these little jazz, this little hands up moment. But then you have one of them in the back. I'm assuming that was on purpose. Yeah. So whoa, I don't know what happened there. But he was there directly standing behind somebody, so that was on purpose. Then he goes around, they open it up, he goes through, you notice it's symmetrical, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, because they operate as an odd number, they were able to pull that off very nice with an opening in the center, having him more protrude through the front. It's still crispy, clean, and symmetrical. Then they allow you do it, and then they finish on the final one. Boom. I bet this one is a banger in concert. Because just this one just feels really fun, and it feels more interactive with their audience with just the interaction of the claps. And I bet you it's so cool for them to do and them to receive that energy from their audience and their fans. So all in all, I think when it comes to performance quality or transition between the dance practice to what you would see on stage, I think this one may have been one of their more fun ones in terms of interaction with their fan base. But you carrots tell me what you think the case was for this, or your insight to this one, because personally, here's the thing. I think I've liked every single 17 piece so far. I was planning on that being the case, but it's really nice to be affirmed in that encouragement or in that support by what I'm seeing here. It's just wonderful. Thank you guys so much for watching. I have been loving going through 17 and just seeing all their different concepts through the eras. I'm glad I'm doing it now and not when I was, not whenever they came out originally, because I'm a very different person now than I was back in the day. So I think I'm able to appreciate these more for what they are now versus if I watched them 7-8 years ago, right? If you want to see more K-pop content, 17 content, Dance Fighter series, Street Dance China, the whole shebang, I have all that on Patreon, early released, as well as on YouTube for you to glean, do whatever you want, have fun, vibe it out, and all of that. I am Jess, and I will catch you on the flip side. Bye!